Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And we've got the new Bard out. It came out 2 days ago. Instead of reviewing the whole thing, I think I'm just going to review the changes that they've listed in here. So we'll give a grade to each change they've listed in here. And, the impacts I think it's going to make on the game. I want to kind of look at it from both the player and the Dungeon Master perspective. Because there are, those are two different perspectives and two different sides of a coin. So, again, this is done by Riley Silverman 2 days ago. We've got our obligatory intro paragraph. There's a video that comes along with this. There's your advertisement for your digital bundle that they're super pushing. We've got our table that summarizes all the changes by level. And we got our picture. Typical bard. Looks like it might be a tiefling. And they're playing a very large fiddle. There's the bow for the fiddle. And there's magic notes floating around. So, all right, here is our first thing, Bardic Inspiration. So they have changed Bardic Inspiration. So if you don't know what Bardic Inspiration did, here is the 2014 to 2024 version. So you used a bonus action. You gave somebody a die. Over the next 10 minutes, they could roll the die and add it to an ability check, an attack roll, or saving throw. They could do it after the 20. Creature can wait until after it rolls the 20, but it has to decide before the DM says it's a success or failure. And they got 10 minutes to use it. And they can only have one at a time. So, we've got a few changes to make here. Now, the 2024 Bard, the Bardic Inspiration lasts for an entire hour, so they've added 50 minutes to that. So you can be walking around in a dungeon crawl perspective, and you could use it. Then also, the Bardic die doesn't have to be rolled it can be rolled after they fail. So now you can hoard them until you know it had a chance of actually turning a success into a failure. So now you can hold the dice, you roll your ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and then you add it and you give the number, or you roll it, you do your check, the DM says that you failed, then you can go, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use this to see if I can bump this up even further. So, I would say if you're rolling around a 13 or 14 on your initial check, and the DM says that you fail, you probably should use it. If you rolled like a 2 or a 3, then it's probably not going to do any good if you failed it. Okay. So, and then, of course, these dice go up the same way. So you get a D6 at level 1, a D8 at level 5, a D10 at level 10, and a D12 at level 15. All right. I always like Bardic Inspiration, and they have bumped it quite a bit now because you can use it longer. Can hold it longer, and you get to use it after a failure, where before you only got to use it when you saw your check. And so you'd really this adds a little bit more of statistical knowledge into the use of this particular power. So we're going to give this change, we're going to give, from the perspective of a player, we're going to give it an A+. From the perspective of a DM, and really from the perspective of game balance, yes, this is going to unbalance some things a bit. Not too much, a bit. But you're going to have people, they're going to hold those dice, they're going to look at the bard, and they're going to say, hey, can you give me a die before we go walking into this dungeon? So, and that's going to be a thing. Whereas before it was 10 minutes, so you didn't get very much ahead time before you used it. Okay. Next thing is expertise at level 2. Bards did not get expertise until level 3. So they got Jack of Trades and Song of Rest at level 2. In the old bard, the new bard gets expertise at level 2 now. So the combination of Jack of Trades and expertise both being bestowed at level 2 now means that your 2024 Bard is leaning into skill versatility earlier. And then they also get 2 additional skills in expertise at level 9 instead of level 10. So they're bringing it on a little earlier. So that's a bump. That's a nerf. I'm going to give this one an A for the player perspective. I don't really think that this has very much of an impact on game balance itself from a dungeon master running the game. So, I think it's okay. If they're getting it, they were getting it anyway. So now instead of getting it at level 3, they're getting it at level 2. Instead of getting it at level 10, they're getting it at level 9. All right, next one. Song of Rest. One 2014 Bard feature did not make it into the 2020 version, and that is Song of Rest. That is sad. Bards got this at level. They got this at level 2. And if you or any of your friendly creatures who can hear your performance regain hit points at the end of a short rest by spending 1 or more hit dice, each creature regains an additional D6, D8 at 9th level, D10 at 13th level, and D12 at 17th level. What are their reasonings for this? While players miss the boost, the 2024 Bard's earlier access to expertise, utility improvements to counter charm, and major boost to magical sequence and font of inspiration should help console you for the loss of this retired feature. Okay, so they're not really given a reason here. From a flavor perspective, Song of Rest also really emphasized that the Bard was a musician class first and foremost. That's not true. Song of Rest could have been a story that the Bard told while everybody was resting. It could have been all kinds of things. So shifting away from a specifically song-based feature, So this from a player perspective, I think I'm going to give this a D. I don't really see the reason why they took it away at all. From a game balance perspective, it was a nice little boost. I don't think it overpowered the Bard, and I don't think that it unbalanced the game itself. So I'm not really seeing why they took it away. Okay, Bard subclasses. The 2024 Player's Handbook presents 3 familiar subclasses of Bards. Okay, so let's go back and look. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Bard colleges that we had before. And they are bringing back the Bard of Glamour, the College of Lore, the College of Valor, and they've got a new one called the College of Dance. So if you still can, because this is all back compatible, you should be able to integrate all of this in. There's nothing that says you can't integrate these in, with these. So they're offering the 4 here. College of Dance is new, so it says this brand new Bard subclass focuses the Bard's power over the magic creation into its physical art form. Dance. College of Dance Bards gain boosts to their defense when not wearing armor and use Bardic Inspiration to fuel powerful unarmored strikes. So it sounds like a capoeira, martial arts, dance, stance. We're going to give it a C+ for now, right in the middle, because we don't know very much about it. College of Glamour. This College of Glamour is here. You got Mantle of Inspiration, so as a bonus action, when you used your Bardic Inspiration, you choose a number of creatures you can see, and that can see you, up to equal to your Charisma modifier. Each of them gain temporary hit points. When a creature gains these temporary hit points, it can immediately use its reaction to move without provoking attacks of opportunity. Or opportunity attacks. So that was great. It doesn't sound like they changed that. The Feywild infused magic of the Bard subclass replaces the 2014 enthralling performing with beguiling magic. Enthralling performance with beguiling magic. So they're changing this. So if you perform for at least 1 minute, so this probably never really got used very much. You get to charm, so beguiling magic, which adds charm person and mirror image to your prepared spells and gives you a chance to bestow charmed or frightened effect on a creature that sees you cast an enchantment or illusion magic within 60 feet. So it sounds like if you use like a charm person spell, that there is, they didn't say what the chance is, but I like that better than I like this where you're hardly this is out of combat. So from a player perspective, I would say that this is an A minus. This was never one of my favorite schools anyway. And from a game balance perspective, I think it's minimal. College of Lore. So the College of Lore Bard got bonus proficiencies and cutting words. Cutting words was pretty good. So Scanlan was a College of Lore Bard in Critical Role. So again, when a creature that you can see within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a damage roll, you can use your reaction to expend one of your Bardic Inspiration, rolling a Bardic Inspiration die and subtracting the number from the creature's roll. You can choose to use this feature after the creature makes the roll, but before you're told it's a success or failure, or before the creature deals damage. Really, the biggest ones on these were probably the attack roll. That was the biggest one, and then maybe damage roll after that. It wasn't a big reduction in damage, but the fact that you can make something miss was big. So how are they changing this? So when these studious bards use Bardic Inspiration to activate cutting words, your roll is no longer impacted by whether the creature can hear you or whether they're immune to being charmed. So that was the creature. The creature is immune if it can't hear you or if it's charmed. Now it doesn't matter. So again, from a player perspective, I would say that change gets an A minus, B plus, because it's not that much of a change. And from a game balance perspective, I don't really see it affecting. Although this gets used quite a bit, and it could only be turned off because of these things right here. So I don't think it's super overbalancing or changes the balance too much. Okay, then we got College of Valor, which got medium armor, shields, and martial weapons, and then a creature that has Bardic Inspiration die from you can roll that die and add the number rolled to weapon damage it just made. Alternatively, when an attack roll is made against a creature, you can use your reaction, spend the die, and add the number to their AC. Essentially, it's like cutting words on the attack roll, except it's the other end. So after seeing the roll, but before you know if it hits or misses. Okay, so the change they made here is now these Scalds can use simple or martial weapons as spellcasting foci. In addition, when a College of Valor Bard gets an extra attack at 6th level, you can now cast a cantrip that has a casting time of an action in place of one of those attacks. That's pretty massive. So that's very Blade Singery. They're kind of changing them, and that's a feature of the Blade Singer from the 2014 to 2024 Wizard. So now you get that. Now that is pretty massive because you got Booming Blade that you can add in to those attacks, Green Flame Blade that you can add into those attacks, so things like that. So, and it's any cantrip. You can now cast a cantrip that has a casting time of an action in place of one of those attacks. So that's pretty massive. So you could hit them with your first attack, and then if you've got it doesn't say a bard cantrip, it just says a cantrip. So if you had levels in Warlock, you could cast Eldritch Blast and Repelling Blast them away. I'm giving that a very big A. That's a big one. Now, as far as game balance goes, we are now going to have 2 classes that will be able to do that. So I think it gives an incentive for people to play bards, and to play bards to at least level 6. I don't think it overbalances things. All right, so next we get Font of Inspiration. And when we look at the bard here, we get they got Font of Inspiration at, where is it? 5th level. And beginning of 5th level, you regain all expended uses of Bardic Inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. So you get all of your stuff back. Has already turned up the volume of the Bardic Inspiration by restoring expended uses after completing a short rest and additional long rest. The 2024 Bard accompanies that with another additional way for bards to recover expended dice. Once you reach 5th level, you can expend a spell slot to regain a die. This does not cost an action, so you can choose to use it when you want to expend Bardic Dice. And the reason they did this is Bardic Inspiration has always been the backbone. That's why they're doing it, because they want people to see the Bardic Inspiration is an integral part of the Bard. But the limited number of uses meant that the player would have to be sparse with their Bardic Dice. Kind of. I mean, people took college short rests all the time. So, again, I'm giving that one an A for the player perspective. From the game DM balance perspective, I don't think it overbalances or underbalances thing too much. Okay, Counter Charm was the next one. So at 6th level, you gain the ability to use magical notes. As an action, you can start a performance that lasts until the end of your next turn. During that time, you and friendly creatures within 30 feet of you have advantage on saving throws. So this is basically a round against being frightened or charmed. A creature must be able to hear you to gain the benefit, and the performance ends early if you are incapacitated or silenced, or if you voluntarily end it. So for a round, you got to do that, and that had unlimited uses because it doesn't say that it doesn't. So it looks like unlimited uses. I don't know why they were saying unlimited here, but so it's moved from 6th level to 7th level, and they upgraded it. So the 2000, so they said it was a turn here. You gain advantage. Now it's a reaction. That's a big bump. Now all of a sudden, the barbarian's getting charmed, or the fighter's getting charmed. Then, and that's any spell that has the charmed condition or frightened condition, which are both nasty conditions. You can use a reaction to stop it. Then, and you don't have to use it until after you or your ally fails their save against the effect, and then your allies get to roll again at advantage. So that's another bump on top of that. This means with your counter charm, your allies now have 3 chances to succeed on their saving throw against being charmed or frightened. Plus, this feature doesn't have a limited number of uses, so it can be used each round when you or your party members are being talked into joining a vampire's cult. So this, from a player perspective, this is S. That's S. This is the major reason to play a bard and to play a bard to 7th level to get this particular thing, because now you can use that as a reaction every single round on the player that you don't want to be frightened or charmed. And many of the charm type of spells require you to, they have the charm condition in them. So if you don't get the charm condition, they don't work. So this is pretty massive. Again, it is a reason for a party to sit down and say, who's playing the bard? Are you 7th level yet? From a game balance perspective, I think this is overpowered. It is going to change the game balance perspective pretty massively. People are going to play bards, and there's really, essentially, if there's a bard in the party, there's not going to be any more frightening or charming if the bard is at least 7th level. It's just not going to be there. You're using your reaction, and if you happen to have given out an inspiration die on top of that, then the charming is gone. All right, Magical Secrets is the next one. So Magical Secrets, we started getting this at 10th level. You got to choose 2 spells from any classes, including this one. A spell you choose must be of a level you can cast. The chosen spell counts as bard spells for you and are included in the number of spells known column of the bard table, which is spells known right there. So you got to choose them from any class. Now it sees a buff. Instead of getting 3 chances to access another class, which you only got this at 10th level, right there, 14th level, and 18th level. So you got a chance for a 5th level spell, a 7th or lower level spell, and a 9th or level lower spell. So with this one, instead of getting 3 chances, which 10th, 14th, and 17th or 18th level, access to a class list at a fixed level, Magical Secrets now lets you select spells from the cleric, druid, or wizard list every time you can add to your prepared spell list. And it sounds like that is almost every single level. So it happens every level up until 7th, until 8th, and then it's every other level. So looks like every other level probably you're going to be able to add spells from these lists here. And you count them as bard spells. That means the bard levels 10 through 20. You can choose spells from 4 different classes, plus when you replace a bard spell from the prepared spell list, you can replace it with a spell from another class's list. I don't think this is S, but this is definitely A. It gives the bard a very wide range of spells it can choose from. Is it overpowering? Does it unbalance thing? How is it with balance? I think with balance, it's okay. I don't think it's going to overbalance anything. It gives people the incentive of playing a bard all the way to 10th level and higher. All right, Superior Inspiration, which is way down here at level 20. And when you roll initiative and you have no uses of bardic inspiration, you gain 1. That was not the greatest capstone ability in the game. So they've moved it to level 18, and now you restore 2 uses of your bardic inspiration if your current pool is at less than that. So if you have 1, you get an extra, but if you have none, you'll get 2. So, okay. Awesome. It's a little bit, still not a great capstone. I'm giving that one a C+. It's a little bit better. It's right. Basically, it's right down the middle. Is it going to break? It's going to unbalance the game in any way? No, not really. We get the Epic Boon at 19th level, which allows you, whenever you cast a spell with a level of 1 through 4, roll a d4, and if it matches the spell level, you don't expend a slot. So you got a 25% chance not to expend a slot. That's okay. Again, we're going to give that a solid B. I don't think it unbalances the game. And then we get Word of Creation, which is new. So your new level 20 feature, which used to be Superior Inspiration, replays up on the bard, has mastered the magic of creation. Words of Creation adds 2 of the most powerful level 9 spells to your prepared list: Power Word Kill and Power Word Heal. Bards can so these automatically go on the list, and then you could use them. So bards can manipulate this power so well that they can potentially use it on 2 targets at once. Ooh, that's pretty powerful. Words of Creation allows you to cast these level 9 spells on a second creature within 10 feet of the original target. That's going to be used on, well, it's going to be used on both from a player perspective. At level 20, I mean, level 20 characters are really powerful anyway. I'm giving this one an A. From a balance perspective, for game balance in the DM, creatures, if you're fighting stuff and you're level 20, they should have way, way, way more than 100 hit points. But once you get them down, the party could now say, well, we got a bard in the party, they can cast Power Word Kill on 2 different things. So we don't have to focus so much on this one thing over here. We can actually split out and focus on 2 things. And once we think we got them below 100, you pop it, and then they're gone. The other one, I think where it's going to be used more is on Power Word Heal. The target gains all of its hit points. If the creature is charmed, frightened, paralyzed, or stunned, the condition ends. If the creature is prone, it can use its reaction to stand up. And now it works on 2 different creatures instead of 1. So that is... They get a lot of healing anyway, but it makes them a little bit better. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.